Hello, 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 and welcome to hopefully another edutaining episode of Create Simple Meals. And today, after much waiting and anticipating, we are going to do seafood gumbo from scratch. Now, everybody has their own way of doing gumbo. There is no right or wrong way, but this is the way we do ours. Now, for Create Simple Meals, when it comes to seafood gumbo, the only non-seafood protein that we put in our seafood gumbo is sausage. With that said, you do whatever you want to do when it comes to making gumbo, because here on Create Simple Meals, we only have those 3 rules. You must have passion, you must have patience, and you must be willing to practice. So one of my favorite cousins, we call ourselves CWTs, cousins working together, been on me about making this gumbo. It's been passed down throughout the years, but we've always relied on the elders to cook. But the elders are getting up in age, and so it's now for us to take over. I'm going to do an absorbently large amount of roux today, so don't let the measurements fool you. But to do roux, roux is basically equal parts fat and flour. Whatever fat you want to use, be it butter, lard, vegetable oil, equal parts fat and flour, and you want to cook that until it gets a chocolate brown. Roux is one of them things that intimidate everyone, but it should not intimidate you because you're going to take your time, be patient with it, and you're going to go ahead and get this done. Here's a couple of pro tips. If you want to do roux and you don't want to sit over this pot like I'm going to do and stir it, there are 2 other ways to do roux. You can mix up your equal parts fat and flour and stick it in the oven at 350 for about an hour and a half, stirring it every 20 minutes or so. That's one way. Almost guaranteed you cannot burn roux doing it that way. The other way to do roux is you can microwave. It's always equal parts fat and flour. You can microwave it for 10 minutes and then in 30-second intervals until it gets to the color that you want. So enough about the roux. And while you're sitting out there, folks, please, please, please don't forget to share this with all your friends and family alike. Let's go ahead and get started with the first thing we're going to do. Again, this is the way I do mine, is I'm going to brown my sausages off. So you're going to brown your sausages, put a little oil in here. We're going to brown these sausages, and after we brown the sausages, we're going to take those out, set them to the side, and then we're going to continue on with the roux. One thing make sure you have on hand, you ain't got to have everything. As you see, the seafood's not out here just yet, although we are going to put in shrimp and we are going to put in crab. But make sure when you start that roux, have your trinity, which is your celery, your bell peppers, and onions, already cut up and on hand, and have your stock, which mine is already sitting here, on hand. Because once it gets ready to get you the color, you have seconds to start adding the rest of your ingredients, or it's going to burn and you're going to have to start completely over from scratch. And although one of the rules in Create Simple Meals is practice, you don't want to keep practicing making roux on the day of you serving gumbo. All right, so let's first get these sausages off in here. And these are andouille sausages. If you cannot find or you do not want to use andouille sausages because they might be a little too spicy for you, any type of smoked sausage will do. Any type of smoked kielbasa type sausage will do. So we're going to put these in here and mix those up. And while I'm sitting here stirring these sausages, folks, please remember, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so you'll know that we're on. Please like and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to tap into us on TikTok. For this recipe and all recipes and videos, visit createsimplemeals.com. Email me all your questions at askme@createsimplemeals.com. Hit that chat button when you're on that website to talk to me directly. And again, please share this with your friends and your family. Now, as far as the sausage part, the reason I like to brown mine in advance, 2 reasons. 1, to get the flavor in there. 2, because you'll see some recipes, they'll put the sausage in there during the boil. I don't like doing that method because it makes the sausage, in my opinion, a little bit too mushy. and I kind of want that little snap still left to them. So that's why I brown them in advance, and then I put these back in towards the end of the cook. So probably at the 2.5 hour mark, I'll put this in there then. Oh, so the question is, how long does it take to make gumbo from start to finish? If you're making your roux from scratch, it's going to take you roughly 3 hours because depending on the amount of roux you're doing, it can be anywhere from 20, 25 minutes as long as 45 minutes. So that's almost an hour right there. Then you're going to let this boil or simmer for at least an hour, hour and a half. So there goes your 2 hours. And then you're going to put your seafood in, your shrimp and your crab legs in the last 30 minutes or so. So that's where it's going to get you about 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how much you're making. Now, I don't plan on filling up this whole pot. I'm doing enough gumbo. The recipe that I have on the website calls for 2 quarts of gumbo, which is basically enough for about 6 to 8 people. But this is New Year's for us, so I'm doing enough for about 15, 20 people. So don't let the amounts throw you off. When it comes to the roux, again, equal parts fat and flour. If you're doing a cup of flour, you're going to use a cup of oil. Another thing, the reason you use a wooden spoon for 2 reasons. One, because you want to be able to, it's thin enough, a wooden spatula, you want to be able to get into the corners when you're making the roux. Also, it's thick enough or sturdy enough you actually stir without damaging your pot. So go to the dollar store and grab you one of these handy, if you don't already have one, some of these wooden utensils, and it'll make stirring a whole lot easier. I personally don't like damaging my pot, so that's why I use usually I use rubber. But when you're trying to stir that rubber, especially as this stuff gets thicker, those rubber spatulas just don't have the girth that you need or the strength to get it moved. All right, so these sausages have now, we've browned them. We're gonna go ahead and grab us a slotted spoon because you wanna leave all that oil and those bits behind. You're just gonna take these out and just set these to the side until later on. Turn this down while I'm ladling stuff out. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and add in our oil. You want to bring this up to medium-high heat. Now, y'all, that's a lot of that gum oil. I'm making a lot of that gum gumbo. So, just in case you're wondering, that was 6 cups of oil. So again, I'm doing 3 times the amount of gumbo that the recipe is designed for. We're gonna go ahead and all them little good juicy bits on the bottom, those gonna come up as we get to doing everything else. Let me go ahead and bring this up just a little bit. You don't necessarily want it frying temperature, but you definitely want to get it kind of up there. All right, so now we're gonna slowly start adding in our oil. Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab me a whisk for now. And the reason you want to add in slow, because you don't want to clump up on you. It will declump, if that's a word, but why make the extra work for yourself? All right, so now we keep on stirring throughout this process while it's cooking. Yes, in and out. All right, folks, as you see right now, it's been roughly 20 minutes or so. As you can see, the color that we at right about now, so it's getting kind of like a peanut butter color. So it's going to start moving a whole lot faster right now. So now you definitely, as you see, I've been stirring the whole time, but you definitely want to pay attention now because it's going to start turning a whole lot faster. Just another little tip right now. So the wife came out and she said that she thought it was burning. And I'm like, is it burning? Because I can't tell because obviously I'm standing over the pot the entire time. Whatever it's smelling, I'm used to at this point. And then she was like, well, no, it's like a nutty flavor. I'm glad she mentioned that because that's exactly what you want to smell. You want to smell that nutty flavor, like not really a burning nut, but a nutty type aroma. That lets you know you're getting close to the end of making your roux. So you don't want burnt or scorched smelling, but if you got that nutty aroma, I wish we had smell-o-vision, somebody need to invent it, then you will know what I'm talking about. As you see right now, that color that we're at right now is getting a little bit more darker than peanut butter. So as I told you, it's going to start going extremely fast. If you was going to walk away, now ain't the time. You should have walked away 20 minutes ago if you had any reason to walk away. Right now, you keep stirring, and if you got to walk away, you get somebody to help you keep stirring. That's the color that you wanted, that chocolate brown flavor. Now, take this heat down just a little bit, and you got to move fast. Start adding in, and it's going to seize up. Echo, pause. It's going to seize up. Don't fret, because it's going to seize up on you. That's just the nature of the beast. So you want to mix your Trinity in there, and you want to stir this on up. I see y'all can't see nothing because that steam done went in there. But yeah, after that dissipates some, I'll go ahead and show y'all the rest of it. You want to mix this all in, so you put your Trinity in there, and that's mixed up. And as you see, all that stuff that was on the bottom is going to get pulled up from the water that's in the celery and the bell peppers and the onions. So see, can I get y'all a nicer shot up in there? That's what you're looking for. That's that deep, nutty color that you're looking for right there. Now let's go ahead, get this turned down a little bit. Let me add in my garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Keep mixing that. You want to mix this garlic in for maybe about 30 seconds or so, just to get it kind of incorporated in there. And now we're going to go ahead and add in our stock. Just slowly add in your stock. Go ahead and mix that up some. Now we can bring this temperature back up. So you want to bring this to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, you're going to immediately shut it back down and let it simmer for about an hour or so. Go ahead and bring that up to a boil. Creole season. I'm gonna add about 3 teaspoons of Creole season. Actually, I forgot I'm doing a larger batch. Thank you. No, it's the other one. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. And do me a favor, grab me the thing of bay leaves. But they say if you ain't sneezing, you ain't seasoning. And I'm trying my best not to sneeze here. It's on the counter. So we're gonna bring this to a boil. We're gonna add in our bay leaves, and then we're gonna just let this simmer for an hour once this comes up to a boil. That'll work. Thank you. This is how thick I like mine. So again, folks, when you're making your gumbo, again, I like mine chowder thick. If it's too thick for your liking, you can always boil you some more broth, or if you're using stock, add that to it to thin it out to get the consistency you want. Again, I like mine very, very thick. I want to stick to your ribs type gumbo, but I know some people like theirs more of a thinner consistency. The good thing is it's a whole lot easier to thin it out than it is to thicken it up. All right, folks. So we are now at a rolling boil. So just to recap, it took us about an hour for the roux and now getting to a boil. So what we're going to do now is add in these bay leaves, reduce this to a simmer, and we're going to let this sit for about 1 hour, and then we'll come back and finish up with the recipe from there. Again, folks, please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to us if you're on YouTube. Hit that notification bell if you're there. Like and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Please don't forget to tap into us on TikTok. For this show and all previous shows and recipes, visit createsimplemeals.com. Email me any questions and ask me at createsimplemeals.com. Hit that chat button if you're there. Talk to me directly, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. We're going to let this simmer, and we'll be back to finish up the rest of the recipe just a little bit about later. 30 minutes. As you see, I've had enough time to clean up a little bit and refreshing my drink. So now we're going to go ahead and add in these crab. I'm using king crab. Again, as I put on the recipe, if you were using gumbo crab, which are raw, you would have added them in at the 1 hour mark and let them cook from there. But because I'm using already cooked crab, and you'll know that if the shell is bright red, they're already cooked. Because I'm using already cooked crab, I didn't want them to get too mushy sitting in this heat. So that's why I'm adding them in, and I'm gonna let these cook for about 30 minutes or so. After that 30 minutes, I'll come back in, I'll add the shrimp. Let you know now, when it comes to adding shrimp, I'm very, 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 very paranoid because I have seen it crash the pot, which can lead to a spoiled pot. So I added in very slow increments. But we'll get back to that when we get to adding in the shrimp. But for now, we've added in this crab. We're gonna let this continue simmering for another 30 minutes. Echo, set crab timer, 30 minutes. Crab timer, 30 minutes. So we're gonna let this simmer for 30 more minutes, and then we'll come back and continue with the rest of the gumbo recipe. Yes. All right, folks, we are back. So it's been a total of about an hour or so. 30 minutes we put after 30 minutes we put the crab in and let that go ahead and simmer. So we got a nice flavor onto that. Now we're going to go ahead and finish up the remainder of this recipe. So we have some shrimp here. Put this over here so y'all can see it. And don't worry about that little random piece of crab meat that would happen when I was separating the parts. So I just went on through it in here. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna season up your shrimp with about a teaspoon or so of your Creole seasoning, and mix that all up in there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding this to our pot. You see it's nice and bubbly on up in there. Get that a stir. Now, as I said earlier, I'm real particular about adding shrimp, so I don't want to just drop them all in there at one time because it will crash your pot. So just add in a couple of handfuls at a time, and then we're gonna stir. Because what you don't want it to do, like I said, it's just my biggest fear, is it crash this pot too fast and it gets to a dangerous level. Now, I might be overthinking this, but in the years I've been doing gumbo, I've only had 2 pots go bad on me, and both times that was one of the reasons why. All right, we're gonna let that simmer a little bit more. I'm gonna bring this up, the temperature up a little bit. I want to see some more bubbles pop up on there. That means I know it's approaching back to my level. I mean, you could also do this. Use your thermometer. We at 190, so we still well above safe temperature. We're going to stir this for about basically 5 minutes or so. It's funny, I make gumbo every single year. And this is the first time I ever made gumbo and I got nervous. And I guess because I'm doing it for a viewing audience. But I do gumbo, believe it or not, damn near blindfolded. I mean, it's something I've done so much that I don't even think about it. But it's funny when you talking it out, how you start second guessing and third guessing and fourth guessing yourself, even though you know what it is. So when you get ready to start making your gumbo, two things. A, trust the process. And then B, once you're done with it, go ahead and email me at askme@createsimplemeals and let me know how it came out for you. Add these last couple of shrimp in. And now we're going to go ahead, stir this, like I say, about 4 or 5 minutes or so. And then from after that, we're going to go ahead, we're going to shut the shut the fire off, add in those, almost knocked over. Add in these sausages back in and let those come to warm, and then add in a little bit of gumbo filet, and then that'll be it. Now, at this point, well, actually before this point, about maybe 10 minutes ago, is where you probably should have went on and start making your rice, because you definitely want to serve gumbo rice. True story. Now, for about 2 years, I say every year, but it was about 2 years, I didn't make gumbo for nobody. I had a buddy of mine, and I put a lot of shrimp in my gumbo, so there's no reason to go fishing in my pot. I hate people that fish in my pot. Anyway, this good buddy of mine decides to go and fill up a bowl. He had a bowl and a plate. The plate was to catch everything that was going to fall out. He had a bowl of just gumbo juice and shrimp, and then a plate full of extra shrimp that was falling over. When I tell you, I was so mad after that. It wasn't about the how much he ate. It was the fact that you didn't even consider other folks that need to eat around here. It really ticked me off. Me and him had a long, as I call it, come to Jesus meeting after that. So as you see, this is nice and thick, just the way I like it. Those shrimp, let me show you where you want them to get to. If you can see there, those are done. That's why you add them in there slowly. And just because, me being me, I'm still going to double check. My temperature is at 175. Again, well above the safe temperature, but just to let you know how much it crashed, before we added in the shrimp, the temperature was at 202. So just adding in that shrimp dropped us down almost 30 degrees in temperature. This is why I do it in slow, in small batches, so I don't crash the pot too fast. And just to give you an idea, most of y'all are probably using gas stoves, but right now I'm using an induction burner, and my burner is set at 300 degrees. So, yeah, I might be a little bit paranoid, but it's a reason why. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and keep bringing this up. What's happening over there? Okay. All right. Bring this up just a little bit higher. And again, folks, don't get intimidated. Y'all know me. You watch Create Simple Meals long enough, you know I'm just a thermometer type dude. But don't think you got to keep checking as much as I do. I'm cooking for guests, and because of that, I'm very anal about not making sure no one gets sick. So that's why I use thermometers so much, because typically if you see me cooking, someone else is eating my food, and the caterer in me is just super anal about food safety. But don't freak out the way I freak out. Trust me. You see some bubbles popping in here, your pot is hot enough. All right, we're gonna go ahead. We can go ahead and more or less shut this heat off and start adding in these sausages, because all you really want for the sausages is for them to get warm. Uh-oh, we got some more sausages left up in there. I should get all them sausages in there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let this sit for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back, fix us a bowl, and let y'all see the final product. All right, and welcome back. So I forgot to say one thing. When I shut the heat off, you also need to add in your filet, which I did do, and let that sit for a while. So now we've done, just to recap, we did a very simple seafood gumbo. We started off making our roux. Time consuming, but not difficult at all. Equal parts fat and flour, you mix that up. To that, we let that simmer for about an hour or so. Added in our crab meat, added in some Creole season, let that simmer for another 30 minutes, added in our shrimp, put the sausages back in there, let that go ahead and basically marry all together and get those flavors just all combined the way it's supposed to be. That's the reason why it takes so long. It's not that you're actively cooking 3 hours. You're letting those flavors simmer and meld together and really bring forth. Tomorrow it's going to taste even better than it do today. That's just the way it works with a lot of stews. With that said, let's go ahead. As I told you by now, you should have already made your rice. So let's go ahead and ladle in some of this good old thick gumbo. Now I'm going to tell you how I do it. From there, you're going to go ahead and get y'all a tighter shot in there. You're going to add in some white rice, just regular old white rice. We're going to go ahead and put that right on in there to make it. Actually, y'all can't see that. Let me move this big old pot over and move that big old pot over and move that over. So that's basically all you want to do for your gumbo. Now, for the taste test. So Ann's gonna go ahead and taste it right now. Let's see how she like it, and then I'll go ahead and give my taste. Y'all know if anytime I have a taster on Create Simple Meals, the one requirement is you got to be brutally honest. My daughter is always brutally honest. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I'm taping. Give me a second. Hey, y'all hold on for a second. I got to let somebody in. You go ahead and taste. Jeremiah, let's go. Let's go. Inside. Inside. Good boy. Echo, close the garage. All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm in the middle of taping, but as I told you, I had guests coming over, so had to deal with that. It just what happens when you do shows at the house. You never know what the heck gonna happen. All right, so you've done your taste test. Brutal honesty. What you think?
I don't even need the rice. It's amazing.
Don't need the rice. Okay, hold on. Let me think. Wait, hold on. Let me tell you something right now. That's some crap. You need the rice because I told you before. I'd had a friend of mine come over here and ate a whole bowl of gumbo juice and shrimp. So put that rice in there, folks. I don't care how good your gumbo is. Go ahead and put that rice up in there. If not, they're going to go ahead and go through your pot. Let me go ahead and give it a taste myself.
All I need is the roux.
I'm going to tell you right now. As I said before, I done made gumbo every year since my mama been gone. And this is the first time I ever got nervous because it's the first time I ever tasted it live from start to finish. Oh yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh yeah. That's it right there. Again, folks, do not let gumbo intimidate you. It's not something that's hard to do. The roux is something that just makes everybody feel like you cannot do it, but the roux is equal parts fat and flour. Once you get that part down, you're good to go. And as I told you before, if you don't want to do the gumbo roux from scratch the way we did it, which as you see takes a while, save yourself, make it very simple. Do your gumbo in the oven, equal parts fat and flour, 350 for an hour and a half, stirring it every 20 minutes. You cannot burn it. You ain't got to worry about it. I also recommend making it in bulk. Make a whole bunch of a bunch of roux, freeze it, and then take it out as you need it. You're just basically going to use that exact same amount that you would have made into your whatever you're doing. Only thing you got to do is when you take that already pre-made roux out, bring it up to temperature first, so a slow boil around 200 degrees, and then finish the recipe from there. As always, folks, you know when it comes to cooking, we only have those 3 rules. You must have passion. You got to have patience, and you must be willing to practice. So until next time, when I'm hoping to bring you another very simple meal, y'all keep on cooking, and I'll see y'all very soon.